Houston, we're back, man. First and foremost, Phil, before we get started with the episode, Houston, Texas, I'd like to apologize for the audio in episodes 15 and 16. I had just had a kid and I recorded 2 episodes that same night, 2 days after my kid was born, so I was kind of distracted. But we're back. The audio's back and rolling. The video's back and rolling, so we're ready to go. First and foremost, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. To my father, Kenneth O. Dike, CPA, happy Father's Day to you. Mr. Farmer, happy Father's Day to you. And most importantly, happy Father's Day to me. It's my first Father's Day. Phil, you got anything?
Happy Father's Day to my father, Phil Adesulu Jr. What's up, Pops?
Let's get into the episode.
Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." Dear John, the iconic legend Quincy Jones said, "To know where you came from makes it easier for you to get where you're going." Sean Diddy Combs said, "Everyone has challenges and lessons to learn. We wouldn't be who we are without them." If 2018 and the last 6 years taught you something, it's that anything is attainable with the right focus and determination. Continue to build. Continue to promote your vision. Continue to inspire creativity and make more creatives. In closing, Nas said, "No idea is original. There's nothing new under the sun. It's never what you do, but how it's done. The first chapter of your vision's movements is done. However, you're still a visionary. Peace and blessings. John Ross."
Yo, it feel like 95, Sachi on my body, Biggie, Jigga, Puffy, all that ballin' is a hobby, and I'm wildin' in my body.
Houston, Texas, man. Welcome back to episode number 17 of the What's Next podcast, a production of Still Visionary Inc. My name is John Ross Dike, and before we get started with the episode, Phil, I want to go ahead and knock out our social media handles so that we don't have to disrupt the flow of the conversation later on. You can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at John Ross Dike and still_visionary. Connect with me, subscribe, and like my LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook channels. Phil.
You can find me at Just Feels Right, JUSTPHIL. Is it Just Feels or Just Feel Right?
Just
Feels Right. So it's just JUSTPHILSRIGHT. And you can find my business page at JPRstyling. Everything no matter what you put on, it should just feel right.
No doubt. Oh, make sure that you check out the previous 16 episodes on my website, stillvisionary.com. Listen, Phil.
Yes, sir.
It's Father's Day weekend, man. How many people have you put into fits for this weekend?
For this weekend, honestly, I have maybe 4 or 5. What do you call it? Like gift certificates for custom suits.
Yeah.
That I'm putting together for some friends and family members to get their father a suit. And then I have a wedding. I have 2 weddings going on today. One guy is already a father, one is not. But I'm sure he'll be one soon enough.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, this is actually, out of all of my wedding weekends and my busy weekends, this is actually one of the more chill weekends for me.
Okay.
That's why we're able to do this today.
Okay. Yeah, man, that's the thing about consistency, man. I've been thinking about how to get back onto this podcast with my being born almost a month ago on the 20th of June. So it's definitely challenging, man, to try to squeeze them in. But listen, man, today is June the 15th, 2019. And it's Father's Day was weekend, man. But, you've been on the podcast before, and we talked about the origins of JPR styling and you getting into the fashion and stylist industry, man. But today what I want to delve into is just basically, normally creatives think that creation is, art. It's poetry, songwriting, song producing, all of that. But your creativity which I've seen over the past few years, transcends outside of that realm. You have your own way of seeing fashion. Let's talk about that for a second, man. How do you see fashion in 2019?
In 2019, I think fashion has gone in a lot of directions due to like social media. I think we've gotten to a point where everybody's trying to do something different, which always doesn't come out to, I guess you say in my eyes, doesn't come out to what, I like. I personally think to stay classic, not to stay too far of what you know. Always, you always hear the, classic and elegance never goes out of style. So that's kind of one of the things that I try to keep into consideration when I dress up for myself. I try to appreciate everybody's fashion sense, even though I still have my own critique on it.
Yeah.
But like I said, I try to appreciate it for what it is. You know what I mean? Some things I can get with, some things I appreciate and I know they're not for me, and some things I just can't get with and can't seem to understand it.
Yeah. So, speaking of fashion, man, on episode 2 of my podcast, I had on Wayne Willis.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
my
that.
guy.
Yeah. Because when he mentioned you, man, and I just was kind of baffled. Like, what did you see about him fashion wise that made you decide that he was going to run? He was going to cover for you when you bounced and did your thing that time you left.
Honestly, with Wayne, I learned that he kind of knew exactly what he wanted, and it was I don't know. It was just kind of like one of those things where the cliche line, "Real recognize real," or and not let's say that real in that sense. It was just more of like we both were on the same page.
Yeah.
And you could tell genuine people. And so when he came to me, actually the only thing he needed from me when we first met were some pants. Yeah. And so I made him some pants for the wedding. For his wedding.
No doubt.
And we started rapping from there, and it was like I said, it was just like we kind of like clicked from there. And in this life it's hard to meet people that at this point I would say meet somebody from as an adult and find out that they're pretty genuine.
For sure.
And I guess that's kind of like how we started rocking from there.
Yeah. Because when he said to me that you had decided to let him run JPR while you were gone, man, I started to think to myself, even during that
I would never let you do it.
And we're gonna get to it. I was thinking to myself, like, damn, you must see some, because you fashion guys, y'all all in the same realm. Y'all only trust each other. Y'all see something, y'all have similarities, and for you to allow him to do that, I was just like, whoa. I mean, this guy's got to be the fashion guy in whatever realm he's doing, because that's not something that I would never allow somebody to run Still Visionary Inc. without my consent or without me being there if they weren't along the same realms. Like if they hadn't had their own thing, if they weren't a creator. So for you to do that, I was like, okay, all right, this is a guy that I need to, stay associated with, man. So
I mean, I think when it comes to business, especially at a point we're all going to get to, when you're running a business by yourself, sometimes you want somebody, to help that is like-minded. Yeah,
for sure.
And I think that was one of those things that, it helped us out, I guess you could say, because we were very like-minded. He technically, I think he kind of understood, just through conversation, like, he has his lane, I have my lane, but we can still, ride parallel together. Yeah. And that was one of the things that I really just liked about him, just in general. Yeah.
Yeah. Fam, we didn't even salute, fam. How you, man? Appreciate you coming onto the podcast, man. No doubt. Listen, man. Houston, Texas, I have you know this, man. This guy right here is my brother, man, from another mother, man. We linked up in 2004 at the Towers. Yeah. 2003.
It was your first year, because it was right before you. I think it was right when you were growing your hair.
Don't make it seem like you're son of me or you're older.
No. I mean, I was there a year before you.
Yeah. True.
I was there a year before you, but it was right around the time you were growing your hair, and I forgot what break it was.
I wasn't growing my hair then.
Yes, it was.
I just had my hair grown because I hadn't been to the shop. But I wasn't growing my hair.
Oh, then. So it wasn't on purpose.
Nah.
But you told me your dad didn't want you to come home.
well, no, that's not what it was. My dad wanted me to cut my hair, and I was like, nah, I don't want to cut my hair.
So you were growing your hair out?
I wasn't growing it out. I just hadn't been. I couldn't use the barber that I wanted to use.
Yeah, but when your dad asked you to cut your hair, you said, no, I'm not cutting your hair.
Because my barber, I don't just let anybody touch my head when they're cutting paws. I don't let anybody just touch my head to cut my hair. My barber, my dad wouldn't let me use my barber. So I was just like, I'm not going to cut it till I can use my barber. So that's where we had our differences in opinions.
But then you became to grow it out.
Listen, dog, I wasn't
I mean, initially you weren't trying to grow your hair out.
Yeah, so I was just waiting for another barber, and so that's the time when Mike cut my hair, and that you know, I look back from that, that was it. Because my barber,
how did Mike get to cut your hair?
Listen, my barber at the time was cutting hair outside of his apartment, and my dad wasn't feeling that. You know what I'm saying? It was somewhere off of West Belford. He wasn't feeling that, so he was just like, you ain't gonna do this and you ain't gonna do that, and I was like, nah. I'm getting my hair cut, you know what I'm saying? So you can't just, you know, just tell me where I'm about to get my hair cut. So that's besides the point. I even forgot the point, man. But what were we saying?
Talking about how we met.
Yeah. So back then, what would you describe fashion back then as?
Hip hop.
Yeah.
You know, just plain and simple hip hop. Which, I mean, I still think hip hop has a lot of, you know, influence on fashion today, especially with like high designers. But, you know, back then was when, you know, that was like the surge of like platinum FUBU, jerseys, you know, Fabulous, stuff like that. I remember, I think you had a run where you wanted to wear only black and white like Diddy, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
So the reason why I asked that question is because we growing up together, I've seen you evolve in fashion, and mine was kind of stunted a little bit, but it's not about me, it's about you. How do you think that you stayed relevant in all those changes that occurred in fashion from those time periods to now?
I think for the most part is I always tried to dress my age. Although some things I did look back at it now, I kind of like cringe when I see what I wore. Yeah. But I was still proud of what I wore. Yeah. You know, because I knew, you know, what it was to wear that at that time. Yeah. And then as you get older, you know, it's one of those things where like you got to kind of like stay true to yourself, but still stay relevant. You know what I mean? Like I never want to be like my dad. And you know what? Let me not even say my dad, but like, you know, the cliche dad, or, you know, that's just all the way out of style. You know what I mean? You know, you want to dress your style for your age group, but you always want to be in style. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't want to be the, you know, the dad that wears the same jeans every day and, you know, switches up between like 3 or 4 shirts, you know? Like I want to be able to, you know, keep it clean. And like I said, it's something that I think I actually get from my dad. You know, like my dad is the shopper in the house. Like I think I learned how to shop from my dad. Like my dad's an avid TJ Maxx, Ross, and Marshall shopper. You know, he could be there all day and he'll sift through and find some things. Yeah. And I think that's, you know, part of the things that helped me. Yeah.
So listen, man, I tried to avoid it because I've heard the story before, but I think my new platform hasn't heard the story of how it is that you got into fashion. Because I remember back at 5304, you know, when you grow up with a clique of people, man, you always know what that individual person inside the clique is going to end up doing. For me, I think that back in the day, I knew that you would always get into fashion because you were always the fashionable guy, the guy in the group, fashion, designing everybody. Hey, you should wear this, you should wear that. But it was only a matter of time. But let's talk about how you got into fashion the very first time when you start to see it for what it was.
Like we said before, I have two main stories that I can say kind of got me to that point.
Do you remember the one you gave on the last podcast?
I think I gave both.
Okay,
but I'll quickly go through both. Yeah. So the first one was Christmas, probably like 7 or 8. The 2 things I had on my Christmas list was a Sega Genesis and a cowboy jacket. Go Cowboys. And so my mom allowed me to open up my gifts on Christmas Eve. So I opened up the gifts and neither had a cowboy jacket or a Sega Genesis in it. Yeah. It had some clothes. Of course, me going through, you know, the box that was all the gifts, I'm, you know, sifting through the end. And like I look at my mom and I'm like, yo, what else? You know, like, where's everything else at? Like, you know, these are the things you wanted to buy me. What about the things I asked for? You know, and in true parental fashion, you know, my mom got upset.
Yeah.
And she was like, you know, you weren't even grateful for the gifts you got.
Yeah.
So she put me on like a little bit of punishment. But the next day we had to go to church. So the reason why she allowed me to open those clothes the day before for Christmas Eve was so I could wear these clothes to church.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember getting out of the car at church wearing the things that she had got me. And it was my pastor's daughter who I had like a, you know, kindergarten crush on, or whatever the case may be, even though she was way older than me. So I remember walking up to her, and we were about 15, 20 feet away from each other. And she was like, "You got on Tommy?"
Yeah.
And she was referring to Tommy Hilfiger. And I was just like, I looked down like, the hell? You know what I mean? Like, what you talking about?
Yeah.
And she was like, "I wish my parents would get me Tommy Hilfiger." And I was just looking at her like, you notice this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you notice like clothing?
Yeah.
And so that was like a light bulb that kind of clicked in my head that, you know, people notice what you have on, you know, especially, you know, it sounds cliche, but like, especially from the distance, you know what I mean? It's almost like, you know, how they say like your first impression, you know, really, even though that wasn't my first impression from her, but that was my first impression from that day. Mm-hmm. And that's what she saw was like the clothing that I had on. And so that was one thing that I can like pinpoint in my mind. Like I can see that moment right now. You know, getting out the car, the exact spot and everything. And I remember her saying, like, she knew what I had on. Yeah. So that was one. And then fast forward a couple years later, more than a couple years, but I was in 6th grade and I had been at private school all my life. So I had been wearing a uniform. So I begged my mom all 6th grade year to take me out of private school. Like, I'm tired of this. You know, I started playing sports. I wanted to go to school with the people I went to play sports with. And, you know, most of them went to public school. So finally, 7th grade year, my mom said that I could go to public school under one stipulation. Yeah. You continue to wear your uniform. Yeah. You know, so pretty much for the first set of 6 weeks, I wore uniform every day. Granted, luckily I had a little bit of a personality. Yeah. I'm lucky I was kind of cool, so people didn't really clown me for it.
Kind of cool.
You know what I mean? I kind of just looked like the new kid that's just what he dresses. Yeah. You know, that's the way he dresses. So then the second set of 6 weeks, I want to say somewhere in between there, my mom allowed me to wear anything I wanted to wear on Fridays. Yeah. So I literally, no BS, Sunday through Thursday, I'm putting together an outfit for Friday. And then I'm writing it down. So I make sure I don't repeat that same outfit the same way again the next Friday or any Friday. So people can know, because my mom, they always bought me sneakers because I played sports and stuff like that. So I always had like shoes. Yeah. But I had clothes. And so they saw, you know, Monday through Thursday that I'm wearing my sneakers and stuff like that. But on Fridays, I used to come with it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that was just kind of one of those things that instilled in me. Like, it gave me like the process of putting together an outfit. You know, I know you have those times where I see you, I was like, JR, what you got on? You're like, man, I just put this on together. Like, that never happens.
So how long on average does it take you to put an outfit together if you're going out to like a day party or something like that? Because for me, the reason why I ask that is for me, I'm not going to say that I'm limited in the wardrobe area. Sometimes with my purpose in life now, my journey, I'm restricted to certain things that I need to wear. Right?
And, I mean, some people don't, I don't want to say that they don't care enough, but that's not their focus. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's not my focus, but it's my focus to wear and promote what I want to promote. You know what I'm saying? So if I can't promote, then you won't see me going in any old thing. But for me, I know if I'm planning on going to, like, there was this poetic party I'm trying to go to, I already have in mind what I want to wear. How long does it take you to put together what you want to wear before you go out? And does the event matter?
Of course the event matters, because you need to know, dress accordingly. Although when in doubt, overdress. But I think I can't put a pinpoint time on it, but I think it does take a process in my head. I'm consistently always shopping. Sometimes at that time when I realize something is coming up, I may already have something in the mail on their way. I might have something in the mail on the way that I was like, okay, that's perfect for this event. Yeah. Or I may have had something in the closet that I've never worn or I wore when I was out of town that might be perfect for that event.
Yeah.
But, to put a time on it, I wouldn't be able to, but I would say it's a constant thought, to be ready. Like, for instance, this weekend, I didn't know what I was doing. I really had open in the air plans, but I still went to the mall and got 3 shirts just in case.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Next week I'm going to Dallas. I've already been on the internet. I bought a couple pairs of jeans.
Yeah.
Just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not saying that I'm going to even take them to Dallas, but just in case.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a constant process.
Yeah.
So it's more of like, I would say in a way, I wouldn't say I'm already ready before it gets to that time. Now, if it's a wedding or something like that, or if it's when I'm making one of my custom suits, then I'll go through fabrics, kind of know, depending on that. But if it's just like everyday thing, it's a constant journey.
Yeah. So, okay. So let me paint a picture right quick. Let's say that a guy, for some reason, he did a bid and he comes home from jail, right? Mm-hmm. And he's been thrust back into society, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody refers you to him. What are you going to get him immediately in his wardrobe to be relevant in 2019?
Good question.
We're talking, I want to go from the top to the bottom. I want to go from the shirt, jeans, shoes, socks, whatever else. Drawers is not important. You can go Walmart and get them. What are you going to get him?
I'll definitely get him a nice pair of fitted jeans.
Okay.
Probably a light blue or a black pair.
Okay.
Something that could go with, multiple outfits.
Yeah.
Definitely get him, the simple, just because of where I come from, how I've always dressed. But you need a good black and white tee, because you can always throw those on.
Yeah.
You can dress them up. You can dress them down. You can put a blazer on top of one of those, and make it work. And then, of course, I would tell him to get a JPR suit.
Okay.
I would tell him to get a color, like a navy blue or a dark gray or something like that. Something that you could throw on with jeans and a t-shirt. Sometimes something you can dress up as well. And then, of course, I'd even probably get him, if I were to say one pair of shoes, it would probably be like some Common Projects, some all whites, something that you can wear with the suit and be fashionable, something you can wear with your jeans and be fashionable, something you can wear with one of those tees that I told you, So that would probably be the start. But, you got to start somewhere, because that's definitely not where we're going to finish. We're going to get you a full wardrobe.
Okay. And does that suffice, or how much of that to be? So you said you never repeated. Obviously, I'm gonna repeat a couple.
No.
I'm gonna repeat a couple.
I repeat too.
Okay.
In high school, in middle school, I wasn't repeating because I only had one Friday.
Okay.
Every
if it's 10 months, you got
10 outfits.
Yeah,
I could have done that. I mean, of course, I repeat.
If it's 10 months, you got 40 outfits.
40 outfits.
Yeah.
But as far as like now, I still repeat. Sometimes I'd be conscious of trying to switch it up, wear it a different way.
Yeah.
One, and you probably remember. You remember back in the day when we used to every week we used to go to the mall and find a new outfit.
Yeah.
And so I got into that habit, and then one summer, I told myself, I was like, man, I got all these clothes. And I'm only wearing them once. I'm not really wearing them. And if I do wear them again, I wear them the exact same way I wore them before.
Yeah.
So I did this thing over the summer. I was like, I'm not buying no new clothes, because I had a lot of clothes.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm not buying any new clothes. But what I'm going to do is learn to switch things up. Like if I have this shirt and I wore it with these pair of jeans last time, I'm going to wear it with a different pair of jeans and a different pair of sneakers this time, and just like switch it up so you get multiple uses out of your clothes.
So the way my mind works with production, film, podcast wise, I'm curious to see if your mind works the same. So when you say, how do you know that you've worn, besides wearing it, and I'm talking about maybe 2 or 3 weeks down the line, how do you know that you've worn this pair of pants with that shirt and vice versa, if you don't write it down?
Kind of one of the things that if it's natural, usually when I buy something, I buy it with an intent for an outfit.
Okay.
So let's say if I just buy a t-shirt, I kind of already know how I'm going to wear it. So that's usually my initial thing. Now, the second time I try to wear it, it may take thought because, my mind already went to how I was going to wear it initially. So now I'm trying to think, okay, now how can I switch it up?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like one of those things, like I don't have to necessarily write it down, but I envision it because I'm actually the one who wore it. So I don't really forget how I wore it the first time.
Okay. What song's on your mind right now?
Song Cry Always. Jay-Z.
I thought you was going to say Nas, you know my style, but.
No. Who's Nas?
Yo, Houston, Texas, man. We don't pay mind to ignorance like that. Okay, Nas is about to drop Lost Tapes too, but that's besides the point. The song that's on
Has
my
he
mind.
lost all his other tapes?
Stop playing, man. Stop playing, man. Stop playing, man. But the song that's on my mind right now is off the Jim Jones project, El Capo, "Tomb and May Concern." That song is the hook right there. Just had it just has been on my mind, ringing and ringing and ringing. Jump,
I'm a man with pride. You don't do shit like that.
Is that song Cry?
Yeah.
Off what album?
Blueprint.
What track?
5 or 4 or 5.
No, it's not 5. Song Cry is track number 11, I believe.
It's down there?
Yeah, I think it's track number 11. If I'm not, don't quote me, but I think it's track number 11 on Blueprint.
You could be right. I'm probably wrong.
Okay, so listen, man. We've talked about JPRstyling came from what event or what experience in life?
JPRstyling came by accident.
Okay.
It all started with running out of space on my iPad. At one point, I had an iPad, and naturally, because I'm into fashion and clothes, I started I used to always go to like GQ, Esquire, anything that I used to see that I liked and could get inspiration from. I used to always screenshot it and save it. And at the time, I think I had the iPad 1, least amount of space. And so I was running out of space on my iPad. It was running slow. I wasn't able to do the things that I wanted to do. And at the time, Instagram was getting popular, So I thought it was basically, like a cloud. I can post all these pictures that I save. And then I can also give reference to people instead of, how you used to always call me like, hey, Phil, I'm going to this event. What should I wear? That was like, something that people can go reference. But it really started selfishly for myself of just taking those pictures and being able to transfer and then being able to delete them from my page. So then with that, I was meeting, people who knew, and I was in Dallas at the time because, you remember I moved to Dallas for like, I don't even know if it was a full year. Yeah. But I was in Dallas. And so, being most of my friends were here, I wasn't able to do much besides, shop while I was in Dallas. So I shopped a lot and people took, people took notice of it. Some friends from church, so far and so forth. And so, particularly one person asked me to take her boyfriend out shopping. And I was just like, nah, I don't really do that. And she was just like, come on, man, you always dressed up. Like you always go shopping. Just take him with you. Just give him some advice. So I did that. And when I did that, it kind of gave me a fulfilling feeling to see him change, wear these clothes, and then actually go to his party. And he looked like a different person. You know what I mean? And you know what the hell they say, if you dress good, you feel good.
Yeah.
And so that kind of gave me a little bit of notice. And then I had a friend. He asked me to be in his commercial. Erwin Nichols, Mr. Real Estate. He asked me to be in his commercial for real estate or whatever forth. So we used a high rise here in Houston as, and I was like the leading guy in the video. And so we acted like, the apartment we were using was mine, which it wasn't. Yeah. And so then I met, you walking around the condo, high rise or whatever, went to the guy's closet and he just had a bunch of suits in his closet. And it was something like I had never seen before in person, you know? So I reached out to the guy and I was like, hey man, what do you do while you have all these suits? And he's like, that's what I do. I do custom suits. And I was like, wow. And I was like, man, I have this following on Instagram. Cause at the time my following had started getting, up there.
What year was this?
Probably around 2012, 2013.
Okay.
And so, I was able to start working with him might have been 14, but somewhere around there. So I was able to talk to him, and he really gave me a nice little jump start. One of his main things he told me when I did start working with him, it was like, you don't work for me. You work for yourself.
Yeah.
I'm just an outsource.
Facts.
So at the time, like I said, I was, doing a little bit of styling here and there, but nothing substantial. But what that gave me was able to give me a product.
Yeah.
And when I was able to market a product towards, to friends and people that I knew.
Okay.
And so that's how JPRstyling really got started.
Okay.
It was all really, at the end of the day, it was all by accident.
Yeah. So, before we move on into the suits, I want to ask you, in 2019, what is the most important accessory in a man's closet? What is the most important accessory? Are you going to tell
Wow. Excuse me.
Do we have an update? Hold on.
The Pelicans have agreed to the trade Anthony Davis to the Lakers for Alonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and 3 first-round picks, including the 4th overall.
We're live, man. Today is June the 15th, 2019.
Wow.
And this episode is dropping Tuesday.
We didn't get rid of Kuz.
Hey, listen. It broke first, so you'll hear it on news on Monday, but Tuesday, know that it broke Sunday, and he just broke it. Go ahead.
Bruh.
This man is checking Lakers facts in Houston, Texas. He's checking Lakers facts on the What's Next podcast, a Houston product. Just keep that in mind. And he yelled out Cowboys earlier. It wouldn't matter anyway. Because it wouldn't matter anyway. Because they're going to give KD and Clay the max, right?
And niggas is not even playing next year. Get out of here.
Nah, KD, at least Clay will be back.
When?
He'll be back.
When?
December. He'll be back.
They said 10 to 12 months.
He'll be back, man. Trust me. He'll be back.
What, looking like Boogie out there?
He'll be Boogie's all right. He'll be back. Listen, I am a Warriors fan. Go Rockets in 6. Rockets in 6, man. Hey, listen, man. This ain't a sports podcast. I asked you a question. Answer the question. Remember the question I asked you?
I don't.
The question I asked you was, what's the most important accessory in a man's closet?
The accessory?
Yeah. Well, when I say accessory, I probably mean, what's the most important thing in a man's closet?
Confidence.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because, before you even walk into your closet, you got to have confidence in whatever you can pull out. Because sometimes you may not necessarily have what you really want to wear, but you got to have that confidence to pull it off.
I like that answer. Today is June the 15th, 2019.
And I apologize for the sports stuff.
Listen, it's okay. We need that type of spontaneity in the podcast. Today is June the 15th, 2019, and we have 199 days left in 2019. What do you hope to attain in those 199 days?
Consistency. I think one thing out of this year that I can honestly say about my business is that I've had a lot of consistency from day one. And I want to keep that build up. When I first started, it was searching for clients.
Yeah.
Then was going to the next year is getting clients, but starting to build a little bit of clientele, and then getting them, but bulk during like wedding season.
Yeah.
Last year I can say wedding season was like all year. Then on top of wedding season, then having your regular clients, coming back, being satisfied.
Yeah.
Learning the kinks. As with any business, we all technically don't know what we're doing as we go in. As we keep going. So, this is one year that I can say, consistency has been very, very good. A lot of referrals, a lot of new clients, out-of-state clients. Starting this business, I was like, I got to search for everybody in Houston, be at every event in Houston so people know who I am. And I can honestly say, not that I'm not worried about Houston, but, my business portfolio has pushed out, further than I could even imagined. You know what I mean? Doing weddings, sending suits to Ghana, sending suits to Australia, stuff like that. Like little things like that are things that, now that I'm seeing, I really love the consistency.
Yeah. Okay, man. So, we were talking about the suits, and we're gonna wrap it up in a few. We were talking about the suits. When you see a suit, what is the first thing that you notice about the suit on a man or on a woman? What is the first thing you notice about a suit?
The fit.
And why the suit? The fit.
Because I think the fit is the most important. I think a lot of times, it's how can I explain it? You can wear whatever you want as long as it fits good. You can get away with a lot as long as it fits good. You know what I mean? As you can see in my closet, I have a lot of different colors. I've worn a purple suit or whatever the case may be. Did I look like Barney? Maybe to some people I did. You know what I'm saying? But I had it. The fit was really, really good. And so because of that, I think the fit is what really matters. And when it fits right, you can get away with a lot of things. So the most important thing is the fit.
When you say get away with a lot of things, what do you mean? Like
as far as color designs, as far as colors and design, you can push the envelope a little bit. Not just your normal blue and gray and black suit. You can get away with a lot, and I think that's the main thing.
Okay, I thought I had another question, man. So my last couple of things. When does just feels right, or when does that idea of yours become a lifestyle? Is it ever a hindrance for you? Do you ever go outside of the house and not have put serious thought into your outfit?
Yeah, if I'm going to like the grocery store.
No, because the reason why I say that is because the other day when you came to visit me at the hospital, I noticed that I tried to keep my brands together. I had on Adidas shorts and Adidas Ultra Boost shoes, right? But I looked at you and you had on Jordan shorts. You had on, what Jordans were those that you had on?
Threes.
The threes. Do you ever take time off from being the fashion guy?
Certain things just, like I guess you say without lack of better words, piss me off. So, like if I have, a pair of Adidas shorts, I'm going to definitely have a pair of Adidas shoes on.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, so cross branding pisses you off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Certain things like that, like kind of like piss me off.
For sure.
On certain days, like for instance, on days that I have to wear a hat.
Yeah.
If I have to wear an Adidas hat, it's going to be all Adidas that I'm putting on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But I also think I'm in a position where I have a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, those things don't really bother me.
Yeah. Hey, yo, man. Oh, you leaving? Go ahead.
Yeah.
So, so what I like to do on the podcast is this, man. I like to bring on creatives on the podcast and I like to talk about their journeys, man. And the last question I like to pose before we close the episode is, what's next for JPRstyling? What's next for Just Feels Right?
Growth.
Okay.
Growth is the main thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the main thing I want is just growth.
Yeah.
If I'd be here in line if I said if I had like a real business plan for what's next.
Yeah.
But growth is the main thing. It's just, getting better from the day before.
Yeah. So what I like to do on the podcast, man, is I like to bring creatives on, and the last thing I'll give to you before we wrap the episode is a custom. Oh, is it two shirts here? A custom SVI T-shirt that I give to every creative that comes on the podcast, man. This is just a token that you on the podcast. Whenever I see you rock it, or whenever I see it in your possession, I know that you on the podcast, man.
All right, no doubt. And the shirt came from where did the shirt come from?
The sweatshirt or the
I mean the logo, when the printing.
Oh yeah, well, Houston, Texas. It's summertime, man. So make sure that you holler at me for any prints that you need, man. Still Visionary Inc. printed that sweatshirt, man. Is that it?
I mean, you tell them. Is that it?
Houston, Texas, man. That's our time. Peace and blessing.
Thank you.
Yo, it feel like 95. Sachi on my body. Biggie, jigger, puffy, all that ballin' is a hobby. And I'm wildin' in my wallies, and them valleys, no Pilates. More wet, get you more wet. Nah, that's these Spumante. My crystal ball, I see crystal. I crystal y'all with that. I saw the sign like Ace of Spades. That Ace of Spades get cracked me like cheers to the money guy. The Willie niggas who buy them bottles and then they spill these liquors. Yo, salute my dude. I see you, dawg. 5 bottles, 1 dick. Why I need 2 bras? I know I'm out of line, but love is shower time. You know it rose rain when your cloud is 9. Get off that high ass hussy. This a private party. Been on my dick too long. Your breath on private party. You gon' be nice or naughty. These walls on priceless Audi. This the upper crust. Fuck is up. Over and done. Overdose. Guess we did it again. Sippin' with no remorse. We gon' do it again and we gon' do it again.
What we doing